Oh, my boy LeBron James, the gift that keeps on giving. LeBron was eliminated from the playoffs, what, 3 weeks ago? Yet somehow, he still manages to find a way to keep himself front and center in the media. He went on a rant yesterday on social media. News was released yesterday morning that Kawhi Leonard would miss Game 5 against the Jazz, and now it's looking like Kawhi Leonard could miss the entire series and the rest of the playoffs. But this news was enough to send LeBron over the edge. Good old Socrates LeBron James. He was patting himself on the back yesterday for his ability to predict the future. The NBA has experienced a rash of injuries this season. There's no doubt about it, and it's starting to compound during the playoffs. LeBron James says that he tried to warn the NBA front office about this happening before the season, which he did. It didn't take a rocket scientist to predict that a quick turnaround for the NBA could lead to injuries. I mean, that's easy to predict. But here is what LeBron James had to say yesterday. Quote, "They all didn't want to listen to me about the start of the season. I knew exactly what would happen. I only wanted to protect the well-being of the players, which ultimately is the product and benefit of our game. These injuries isn't just part of the game," end quote. I'll stop it right there for a second. Number one, LeBron James had selfish reasons to want to push back the start of the NBA season. The Lakers played into mid-October last year, so he knew that they were going to suffer from fatigue. Now, he might have been looking out for the well-being of the league, but LeBron James also had selfish motives here. Now, I rarely defend Adam Silver, but what the hell did you want him to do? It's one thing to complain about the quick turnaround, but what was LeBron's solution to this problem? This wasn't like a lockout season where the players are on strike. And while the NBA might be losing money during a lockout season, they're just losing the potential to make money. During a strike, players aren't being paid. The league's expenses are limited. The NBA is coming off 2 straight regular seasons and the playoffs last year where they are bleeding money. The only source of revenue, or one of the only sources of revenue for the league, was the broadcast fees. I would estimate that the NBA spent hundreds of millions of dollars last year in the bubble. NBA arenas, they've been empty for the most part until the playoffs started. Now, could Adam Silver had made the decision to postpone the regular season, maybe start it in late January, early February? Sure, he could have done that. But you have to remember, Adam Silver works for the owners, not the players. I would imagine that there was immense pressure from NBA owners to get the regular season started as soon as possible. I don't remember players taking a pay cut last year. Pretty sure LeBron James received his full salary. All the while, owners in the NBA itself are losing money. If Adam Silver made the decision to say, play 40, maybe a 50-game regular season instead of the 72 games that they played, you are talking about millions and millions of dollars in lost revenue. That is money that the NBA needs right now. I told you guys a couple of times that the NBA's debt to revenue ratio is awful. They have 3 times the amount of debt to the amount of revenue that they are currently bringing in. Remember a few months ago when Adam Silver was catching all kinds of hell from LeBron James and other players in the NBA for going through with the All-Star game? They were all complaining, we're in a pandemic. It's too dangerous to travel and play in the All-Star game because of the COVID. I guess LeBron thought the COVID only traveled to the All-Star games. COVID didn't travel when LeBron had to say travel to Phoenix to play the Suns or OKC to play the Thunder or maybe New Orleans to play the Pelicans. No, COVID, it wasn't in those cities. COVID was only in Atlanta during the beginning of March for the All-Star game. You know why Adam Silver went through with the All-Star game? Because he knew the NBA desperately needed that 40, 50 million or whatever they made during that weekend. They needed that money. And he knew the NBA's television partners desperately needed a big rating. At that point, The NBA was in the midst of rapidly declining television ratings for the regular season. If I remember correctly, this past regular season was the least watched in the history of the NBA. Adam Silver, all he was doing what was right for business for the NBA. That's it. So LeBron James is right. The NBA front office didn't listen to him. There's a reason for that. There's a reason players are paid to play basketball, and guys like Adam Silver are paid to make business decisions. In most cases, players make for bad business people. LeBron James has proven repeatedly that he sucks at business. His woke politics have tanked the NBA's television ratings and their revenue. LeBron went on to point out that 9 NBA All-Stars have missed playoff games due to injury. Is he right? Is LeBron James right? Are we seeing an increase of injuries this year because of the quick turnaround? According to NBA spokesman Mike Bass, injury rates for this season were the same as they were last season. On the list of people I trust, though, Mike Bass isn't one of them, so I decided to check into that claim for myself, see if he was right. Statistically, NBA injuries actually increased this season by around 5%. Now, these are non-COVID related injuries, so any player who missed time due to COVID protocols was not included in that number. All-star players in the NBA missed 19% of their games this season, the highest in the history of the league. So perhaps LeBron James is right. The quick turnaround had something to do with the number of injuries we've seen this season and in the playoffs. But it also got me to thinking, could load management have anything to do with what we're seeing in the playoffs right now? You would think players like Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving resting much of the regular season would actually benefit them in the playoffs, but I think it has the opposite effect. You can only get into game shape by, actually playing NBA games. No amount of practice is going to get your body conditioned to play 40, 45 minutes a game in the playoffs. Let's look at some of the players who have missed time so far in the playoffs. Joel Embiid. He missed a total of 21 games during the regular season. He missed 10 games due to a knee injury. The other 11 were DNPs. I would assume for rest. Kawhi Leonard missed 20 games this season. Some for some minor nagging injuries he probably could have played through. Many of those games missed for rest. And a couple for health and safety protocols. Nothing he can do about that. Kyrie Irving. You already know where I'm going with Kyrie Irving. He actually missed 18 games this season. I thought it would be more. He took a damn 2-week sabbatical back in January, to get his mind right. Both Anthony Davis and LeBron James, they missed significant time during the regular season. Now, both AD and LeBron had legitimate injuries. Now, although you could attribute those injuries to the quick turnaround, it's just hard for me to blame it all on that. Anthony Davis has been injury prone his entire career. And LeBron James has struggled with injuries 2 of the last 3 years because he's just old. He's getting older. Look, I'm not a doctor. I don't know if load management has anything to do with the rash of injuries that we're seeing in the NBA during the playoffs, but it's just something to think about. Like I said, it is difficult to stay in game shape when you aren't playing consistently. If your body's not in game shape, you're more prone to injury. I don't doubt that LeBron James cares about the health and well-being of his fellow NBA players. I don't doubt it. But part of me wonders if this is also just an elaborate excuse for why the Lakers got bounced early in the playoffs. LeBron has been complaining all season about the schedule, about the quick turnaround. Quick turnaround or not, both LeBron James and Anthony Davis likely would have been injured at some point this season anyway. Like I said, though, Adam Silver was not left with much of a choice. Because the NBA has been bleeding money, they had to play as many games as they could fit into this season. As far as listening to LeBron James, though, when it comes to business decisions, Adam Silver would be wise to continue ignoring LeBron James when it comes to business decisions. Adam Silver did the right thing. He was left with the choice of risking injury to players or risking losing more money that the NBA could not afford to lose. Business-wise, That was an easy decision for Adam Silver to make. All right, what do you guys think of LeBron's rant on social media? Do you think Adam Silver made the right decision to start the NBA regular season in late December? Or do you think that maybe he should have risked losing more money and started late January, maybe even early February, and not played as many games? Sound off in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.